And so it goes on. Good morning. The name calling and the accusations and the boasts get wilder and wilder. Makes you realize that we have not got exactly the A stream of politicians. They've created this situation, and they now are having to live with it. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, here I am, as usual, on my own, in the pub. I have the key. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. And as bit by bit, I will be joined by my colleagues, and we will have rollicking fun. I promise you. Not only that, but we invite you to join us. Miracle Television broadcasting out of the Black Horse Inn in Lewes, East Sussex. We are local, not parochial. We broadcast to the world, and wherever you are, and our friends in Patagonia and Uzbekistan, you are welcome, and I hope that you enjoy what we have to do today. I suppose we better look at the weather, really. Let's look at the weather. 19 degrees today. Not a bad temperature at all. Not a bad temperature. And it's going to be sunny all day, except that at 2 o'clock, we might get a little bit of cloud. We might. But it ain't going to rain. It isn't going to rain anymore. It's not going to rain anymore. Enough frippery. It's time that you got out there and enjoyed this sun. The heat of the sun on your back. The waft of the breeze in your face. Well, that's what it's like out there. And it's okay. It's okay. Now, I always have a little bit of problem getting us up and running on the screen. Oh dear, my mushy fingers. My really mushy fingers. Well, everything seems to be okay here, so let's not fart around. As you know, one of the big problems that we have is with me and high tech. Actually, it's with me and low tech. I'm perfectly capable of wiping the whole thing out. But well, we'll worry about that in a little while. It's an interesting situation with our local elections as well. We had the Reform Party man on, very impressive he was too. We have an agreement from Maria Caulfield, the sitting MP, to come on, although no time or date has been fixed for that. We have James McCleary, the favourite, the Lib Dem, who is going to make an appearance. Let us know what he will do. We haven't heard from Labour. We've had the Greens turn us down. And there's a lady running more or less as an independent that we haven't managed to contact. But we anticipate 4 out of the 6. And we've invited all of them, and that's what the election rules say. We must give each an opportunity. If they turn us down, so be it. The Greens have been very difficult locally. If they should become MP, you can guarantee that we're going to have some real wompy fights, because they just aren't cooperative. They get on with their own particular way of doing things, and that's it. Hey, long lad. Well, I suppose we'd better take a look at the news headlines, because there is a wonderful statement just to show you how unrealistic this whole campaign is. In the Daily Telegraph, Keir is saying that Jeremy Corbyn, the almost communist leader of the Labour Party, was better than Johnson as Prime Minister. Now, Johnson was Prime Minister, Corbyn wasn't, so it's difficult to make the comparison. But the one thing that is a difference between Johnson, whatever else he said about him, he was a charismatic leader. I'm afraid Jeremy Corbyn was anything but. So if you're talking about what I see and we see in this television station as being the main criteria for leadership of this country, Prime Minister, I'm afraid that our Jeremy just didn't cut the mustard. And Boris, on this main issue alone, does. Right. Oh, now let's go back to the Financial Times, because the Tories really do they shoot themselves in the foot, but also they give veracity to the lie that they are all greedy, whatever. And it is sometimes not the case, but there were a flurry of bets on there being a July election that would place in the run-up to Sunak's announcement. In other words, a large number of people bet on the correct date. They placed bets in the bookies and collected, if not a fortune, a tidy little sum. And so there's going to be an inquiry. That's a bit like insider trading. You know in advance the result of the thing that you're about to the thing that you're about to Sorry, I'm reading this again. The thing that you place bets on a thing that you know the result. It's against the law. It's a naughty thing. And now it appears that more than one Tory placed £100 bet, I think. Apart from one Tory that we know about, now there are a whole host more. Now, I must be very careful because it does not say that these extra people now who placed the flurry of bets were necessarily Tories. But since insider information would have come from central office, there's a good chance that they were. So, the Telegraph also mentions a huge spike in bets, with a cartoon by Matt showing a door-to-door campaign above the caption, "I'm your Tory candidate. I bet you a tenner that you are not going to vote for me." The Prime Minister promised to boot out anyone found to have broken gambling laws. The paper's main focus, however, is on Sir Keir Starmer's comment that Jeremy Corbyn would have made a better Prime Minister than Boris Johnson. He made the statement during an episode of Question Time. He was pinned down, the paper says, over his past support for Jeremy Corbyn in 2019. Some of these things come home to roost. They really do. The Daily Mail. Corbyn would have been better PM than Boris, Keir claims. A repeat of what was on in the FT. Starmer's extraordinary answer to a grilling where voters were given the opportunity to ask for opinions. The Daily Mail also leads with Sir Keir's extraordinary comment about Jeremy Corbyn. Corbyn would have been a better PM than Boris, Keir claims. That's the headline. The paper says Sir Keir was flustered and left squirming during his appearance. The paper then references England's match against Denmark. We're talking about the Euros now, football. Against Denmark on Thursday, which saw a 1-1 draw. It seemed just as interested in the spectators, though, saying that the footballer Kyle Walker's wife and former lover were both at the match in Frankfurt. Betting farce derails Tory campaign amid fears that more names will emerge. Oh, it looks as if it's quite widespread. Football on the Eye front page, as the paper refers to criticism of the England team's performance with its headline, Denmark won, handbrake won. It's an opportunity to get next to senior politicians. But you don't want to do it when people have got their hands in the till. Because you're likely to come out with that hand tarred with a similar brush. The main headline focuses on the election betting allegations. As the paper says, the controversy has derailed the Tory campaign. Okay. The Daily Express. Oh, it leaves the popular headlines alone. Thank you. You saved our son's life. The Daily Express plays with two of today's most popular stories, the general election and Euros 2024. Next to a picture of England's captain Harry Kane, the paper adds, goodness. All right. It's got big bold, you saved our son's life, and then it doesn't tell us what it's all about. The Mirror. What are the odds on that? It says 3 are probed as a surge in election bets are revealed. Prince William is pictured on the front page of the Daily Mirror. As the paper says, Thursday's England game was a hard watch. Manager Southgate and an England fan are also pictured looking tense during the game. The paper also says The Guardian. A new blow for the Prime Minister as a former Tory minister says he will vote Labour. I can't get excited about that. They're such a lightweight group, the people that have been in charge. The Guardian front page reveals that former Tory minister Chris Skidmore has said he will vote for the Labour Party in July in a deeply personal attack. The former energy minister Andrew Tate is back in the headlines as The Guardian reports that Nigel Farage praised Mr. Tate as an important voice to emasculated boys. My Farage was quoted as saying that Mr. Tate had gone over the top at times. The paper says the Reform UK leaders' comments were aired in a podcast back in February. That is the worst read piece of newspaper prose. So I'm not sure that I understood it. Not sure I understood it. The key is the Guardian is involved with the present scandal. The Times. Sunak vows to boot out Tories over poll betting. Yeah, I bet. I bet a lot of them know where the rail businesses. So, although they say, "Oh, I'm wonderful for what we've done," they don't mean it because it'll open up a can of worms. Okay. Them's the headlines, but to me, the Corbyn quote, it confirms a couple of things. First of all, I'm reasonably sure I'm reasonably sure I don't know what I'm reasonably sure of because I've taken my concentration away. It's that sort of day today. It's nice. It's nice out, but the warmth didn't give me an opportunity to sleep terribly well. So, as you can probably tell, concentration is absolute hell this morning. I can't wait until the others come on and I can let them do the talking and I can sit in the background. Because that's what's going to happen. I'm in no mood to spearhead a TV program today. But the show must go on. We can't not come and do it. And as a consequence, we will have not only lively debate, but we'll have stuff that is sensible, unlike the witterings, my witterings this morning. I must be boring you to tears. I'm boring myself to tears. It hasn't been that difficult a week, has it? Yeah, it has. All right, okay. Where are we now? It's 8:27. It's gorgeous outside. Absolutely. It is summer personified. It's nudging 20 degrees, a fresh breeze, no sun, and all in all, only the politicians are mucking themselves up. And people are taking advantage of it this morning. They are in summer dress, and they walk, not run, as is only seemly in this sort of weather. So what I'm hoping that I'm going to be joined very shortly by a couple of members of our team. The trouble is that yesterday I cocked up everything and didn't have anybody to put it right. And I hope the system hasn't got a hangover from that. Perhaps you're saying, I hope it does, Keith. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, since we're talking politics, I'm going to stay with politics, stay with the local politics. Because I've got some stuff from the late Councillor Catherine, who was very, very knowledgeable about the rules and regulations, and was often able to set local politicians right. Here is a sample of the sort of thing that he did, and the sort of thing he did on Mirador.
Hello, we're at the Western Road in Lewes, the county town of East Sussex. although I must say, if you look around, there's nothing much to convince you of its status. Take these public toilets. You will see the notice here. Please be aware that these toilets are locked due to the dangerous state of the building. You do wonder why the owner has neglected it so much, and I will tell you that the owner is Lewes District Council, so perhaps you will understand the anger and frustration that they can't even be bothered to look after their assets. But we come along to another facility, which is at this end, which until a year ago was working. Do admire the hanging gardens of Babylon on the way. They can't even cut that back properly. But here, the disabled facility, which was much in demand by the church opposite when it opened. And this bit, the only part of the facility that didn't work, but did work, has been closed for over a year because how apt they are in the words. Currently, there is no electricity. You admire someone has a subtle sense of humour there, if nothing else. But why haven't they mended that? A year since it was closed. And this facility isn't open again because of the dangerous state of the building. And if we just come to the end of this forecourt, you will see how big the site is. We come forward to here, earning no revenue for the district council at all. And it goes back some way, as you will see. Well, just see the end of the undergrowth, and you get an idea of how big this site is. So the scheme I came up with some 3 years ago, which the Deputy Chief Executive thought was rather good, would be to demolish this toilet block and rebuild it on a footprint a third the size, which is all we need. Building it up to this boundary with the pavement, and that would give enough room above, beside and at the back for one-bedroom council housing. The district council own the site. Buying the land would cost them no money, and of course it would bring money into the housing revenue. But the deplorable thing is that for over a year they haven't even been bothered to repair the electricity for the one bit of the facility that was open. And I think that is a neglect of public assets and probably not very good management of the buildings on their part. You may draw your own conclusions, of course. Don't be swayed by me. And here is further evidence that the county town perhaps doesn't hold its head that high. All these drink cans and bottles scattered around land which belongs to the county council. Now there is a local order in this town banning drinking of alcohol in public. You may look around and wonder where the public is, but this drinking goes on late at night and nothing is done about stopping that. But the point of today's lecture is this wonderful array of dead trees and living bindweed. The county council took this back. I used to look after it along with the planting here, and the county council said it is untidy, we're going to take it all back. Their taking it back meant that they didn't water any of these beds for over a year, so what was in there has died, more or less. And they did, however, plant 4 new trees, but they never watered them since they put them in. So throughout this long, hot summer, it's withered and died. And I wonder what sort of advertisement this and the bottles and everything else and the litter around, what sort of impression does that give of East Sussex County Council, whose offices are just behind me? Now, I have written to the County Council and said, look, for the cost of 200 quid to get some new plants, since everything else seems to have withered and died, I will continue to look after it at no cost to you at all, because I, like you, are proud of this town. They haven't replied to the email, and as far as I know, they haven't responded to the pithy paragraphs which were in the Sussex Express last week. Can I ask that the two councils, both strategic authorities, the district and the county, show that they have some pride in the town, the council tax of which enables them to exist. And there will be another bit about council tax as the year progresses. We'll talk about that next time. But I hope you will agree with me that even me doing it for nothing would give a rather better result than the careful and studied conservation of dead trees, which is what the county seems only to be able to manage.
Late Councillor Catherine, great loss to this town and to the district when he passed away 3 or 4 months ago. His contribution and his ethics when both the town and the district council tried to bend the rules to their own advantage, which they do. They're no better, our local politicians, than those in Westminster. The whole political class should hang its head in shame right now. Anyway, Catherine kept everybody honest, and there's nobody there anymore who even cares about that, let alone understands the rules of governance, so they can say, hey, come on, you do that, it'll just turn out to be illegal, it'll be overruled. Of course, a lot of people don't care. I could actually recognise about 4 of our town councillors. I could recognise about 4 of our district councillors. They are hardly vibrant and exciting. They hardly get excited about anything. They rarely stick their nose above the parapet and try and make us think that politics is worthwhile. They only have themselves to blame and nobody pays any attention. What else have we got? What else have we got? All right, here's one that we only played once. It's Father Paul Yates, who did a little bit of presenting at one time, and he discovered a little perfume-making factory on School Hill. So he went along to investigate. This is what he found.
Evocative. Meals that we've had, places that we've been to, things that make us happy and sad. And some people use their creative skills to make sense that enhance our lives. And one of these people is with me now. This is Nancy Mylan.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
So, how do you get into this business of making sense?
That's a very good question. How do people do that? It seems so shrouded in mystery, doesn't it, as a field? I had to start with menial tasks, cleaning 150 vials a few times a day, lots of pouring and decanting of oils, labelling, and setting up for different clients for this perfumer that I did work for and was an apprentice for. So it was a lot of slog as well, and not very glamorous at all. I mean, I was obviously allured by what was going on around me and very interested. It really sparked my interest, and the passions really started to grow, and I realised that as a creative outlet this really suited me, and so it eventually evolved into that. And then I did my own qualifications as well. So I did levels 1 and 2 in perfumery with a senior perfumer under the tutelage of a senior perfumer. And I'd always wanted to create a perfume which was called Acalaria, and it's about the tree that oud comes from. And oud is worth more per kilo than gold. And oud, you never forget the first time you smell real, genuine oud. This one is an ode to the oud for that reason. It's about going back to the tree that it comes from and the bark, and it's a celebration of that. So the Tibetan monks will chip off pieces of the bark and they will smoke it as incense. Well, it will be burnt as incense as they are meditating. The samurai used to infuse their armour before going into battle with the oud. And it's got birch leaf juniper berry in it. It has Egyptian oud in this one. And then it goes into more buttery notes in the base, so it has quite a soft landing in the end. But it's quite light and wearable. I'd say it's completely as wearable by men as by women.
Oh, it really is wonderful. That is inspiring. That's amazing.
My pleasure. Thanks, Paul.
And Nancy's perfumes are not just for 50% of the population. You can buy them in Harvey Nicks, and even better, Paul Clark's in Lewis High Street. And today I'm wearing Illumine, and Mick, the cameraman, has already asked me out to dinner.
Well, that's Paul Yates, Father Paul Yates. He was a priest at St. Michael's, a lovely man, a great company, and as you can see, it's a very sense of humour. And that was just a little fact, a little story that he uncovered. Paul is also quite ill, and like a lot of us, it's a struggle to actually do the thing. Only on some days. We have good days and we have bad days. And Paul was having a good day on that day. We uncover these little things at Mirador, and support your local sheriff, support your local industry if you get a chance. And you want to buy some perfume, that's an option for you, and it supports a local entrepreneur and a local talent. Where are we now in terms of time? We are 8:46. It's 8:45. We soon will move out of this slothful approach to television, which is me this morning, and we'll get some exciting people in who will set the scene alight. In the meantime, I thought surely it's reached a new low when the leaders are, it's a friend of mine just passing. She's busy talking to somebody, so I doubt if she'll see me. No, she's looking in every direction except in my direction. But what animated conversation she's having, and soaking up the sun at the same time. It's lovely to see. That's the nice thing about broadcasting from the Black Horse. You get to see life as it unfolds, as it moves away. Now we've got Harry Atherton at 9:30. Hopefully, Dr. Mark is not ill anymore and can join us. And then we have the sparkling presence of Melissa Conti at around 10:30. So that's the way the cookie is crumbling this morning. Is there anything else that might be worthwhile taking a look at? Do we think? It might be. Well, I'll tell you what. We haven't chatted about wine for a while, so let's look at bottled poetry with Annie Verrill and Fergus Wood.
Hello and good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Here we are with the second episode, which is all about wine tasting for all the people out there who are wine connoisseurs or just want to know a little bit more about the wines themselves. So we have with us Mr. Fergus Wood, who will introduce himself and tell you all about his company. Hello, Fergus.
How you
Please
doing?
Tell us more about yourself. I'm well, and once we get through all these wines, we'll be even better, probably. How are you?
Exactly, yes. Yeah, it'll be a great way. We're recording this at lunchtime, so hopefully it should get us
Indeed.
into the afternoon quite nicely. Yes. And
Just
Thursday,
the right time for it.
Exactly. Thursday's the new Friday as well, so at least we're starting early. It's good.
Oh, I like that. That's great.
So yes, I'm Fergus Wood. I'm the founder of Camino del Vino, as you can tell in the background. I'm a new startup. We're about to launch a new startup, online wine startup, where you can find us at www.caminodelvino.co.uk.
I think it's very clever of you to have started this company because I myself, I don't know much about wine. I know there are 3 different colours.
Yeah. There's 3 main colours, but there's orange wines as well. But we'll go with that.
There we go.
Let's keep it simple to start with.
Shall we leave that for later?
Yeah.
Let's have red and white later
white
on
and
for
rosé.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So last time you were about to start talking about this beauty here, Wonderful.
Go with a pearl earring, yes.
which is a Merlot.
Correct.
Lovely. Here it is, and it's Chilean, is it?
It is Chilean, yes, correct, yeah.
Great.
So it went by a different name, the portrait or the painting. Sorry.
Yeah.
I I can't remember what it is, or don't really know.
No, that's fine.
But
Yeah.
it's now just known as the girl with the pearl earring because it is so iconic and so distinct.
Indeed.
But this particular mallow is also great for the region. It just thrives in the Central Valley, and the Central Valley it's sort of wedged in between the Andes on the east coast, and then it's got small sort of low-lying mountains on the west side. So it really tucks in below there. And Chilean climate is very Mediterranean. It's very warm and sunny, but then sort of that it gets that through the day. But then when the cool climate from the top of the Andes comes down, when it comes into the night, it starts to cool all the vineyards down, so it helps mellow out sort of the growing conditions basically, so it doesn't go ahead of itself really. It doesn't wear itself out through the growing season, so it like sort of cools itself down. It doesn't need to start photosynthesizing, and yeah, it basically ends up with a lovely elegant wine at the end of the day, and which we hopefully crack onto now.
I love the way you told that story. You should be a teacher. It's like a nice piece of geography and a little bit of history, and the story behind it. Well done. Can I open the bottle now?
Yeah, should we do it? Yeah. Let's see, why not? I left mine annoyingly in a storeroom outside, so it's a little bit cool, but I think yours should be at a good temperature.
Yes.
Because you don't want it. Red wines, particularly, you want them to be like 16 to 18 degrees, sort of like. If you have them at room temperature, you should be fine. Red wine's a little bit chilled, but you should just be fine. You should still get the same flavors, which is good. So.
Okay, right. Let's open that up now. Before anyone judges out there, this is what we decided on having the red in, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm not a very big wine connoisseur, I just grabbed whatever glass I had at home. I just wanted to make sure it's not a pint glass.
No. So it's very good. So if you hold it up to the camera, you can see that in a bulb shape.
Yeah.
Like that. That's very good for wines in general because it helps collect all the aromas and flavors rather than let them go. So when you do swirl it around and when we go and sniff the wine, you can actually smell all the flavors that are in there. And so it just helps those sort of pinched in walls help the flavors and aromas bounce off and keep inside. So, and where you want to fill it is just below the sort of the widest part of the bulb.
Here?
Just want about there. Just fill it out,
just below the widest part.
Yeah, you want to fill it at its widest part. You just want to fill it slightly below, especially for tasting, because I'd say that you don't want to. Later on after the recording, you can fill it right back up.
No.
Just for tasting, you want to let all the aromas just tuck in. Whereas if you filled it a little bit higher, they may just sort of go out.
Also, let me just ask about the top. Now, of course, many people believe that if it's not a corkscrew, then it's no good. If it's just a screw on. What's the truth behind this?
So, there is a slight bit of truth in that. Yeah, a lot of one of my friends as well. He's very, especially for like these sort of wines, South American wines that do have a corkscrew. He just doesn't. He doesn't believe that good red wines should not be in a corkscrew. It's they should have a cork in it basically. Just because it's like, what the cork does essentially, it just imparts a different level of flavour onto the wine that maybe the winemaker wants to do. But it's just, again, it could be a cost factor, or it very much depending on what the winemaker wants to do. But I guess it is sort of genuinely true that a lot of the cheaper wines do have screw caps, because it does cost a little bit more to put corks in, redesign the bottle and all that sort of stuff. But there are still very good examples of wines which have twisty caps, screw caps on the top. And so, again, it's just like, it's one of those really. You can just take it as you will. Hopefully you'll like this one, and so, which is a good example of it being a good wine and needing a screw cap. But yeah, it's just, it imparts a different flavour onto the wine, basically.
Good. Well, thank you. You demystified that.
You're testing me today.
I told you I'm a novice, so whatever pops in my mind, I shall ask. I don't know if it's silly or not. But...
I like it.
Very good. So now to the important part.
The important part.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. So
Lovely.
So yeah, what you
swirl.
You just want to give it a quick swirl. And you should be able to, if you just gently put your nose over it, I can sort of, you can smell it already. You should be able to smell like fruit flavors already.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so they're quite typically, especially for this Merlot, they're typically red fruit flavors, so such as strawberries.
I was going to ask, is there strawberry in there somewhere?
Exactly, yeah. So that's very typical of a good Merlot and sort of representing what the grape can offer, basically. And so yeah, give it a big swirl, and then if you want to dig deeper, put your nose in it, and you can try and pick up, especially if you do go a little bit deeper, some sort of floral notes as well that maybe the wine should have as well that could be present in this. If you can smell it, I can definitely.
Oh dear. No.
What are you going?
Floral. What type?
If not, no worries. If your nose may not be particularly as attuned as mine, but it's something you may get to develop on later on.
All right.
Yeah. You may as well be able to pick up maybe a slight bit of bell pepper sort of flavor, like green pepper.
Herbaceous.
Yeah, herbaceous. Yeah.
Interesting. You see, I would never have associated green bell pepper with wine.
There we go. Yeah.
It's healthy. It's full of fruit and vegetables. We need more of this.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And then
very good.
So we passed the first test. We've done the smelling. So these sort of flavors as well that you can pick up in the aromas essentially of the wine. You should be able to taste as well when we start to sip the wine as well. So they should be basically, whatever you pick up in your nose should be fairly representative of what you pick up on the mouth as well. But sometimes you may be able to find a couple more flavors that are, for instance, you could not smell on the nose that you could then pick on the tongue.
Right.
That's just it's dependent on the wine basically, and it's very it's just whatever. Taste is very personal after all. So what you can taste and what you can't taste is entirely up to the person doing it basically. So yeah. We should wait and see.
So turn out I am very rubbish at this, but let's give it a go.
What you want to try and do is when you sip it, you want to try and let the mouth the wine sort of cover the inside of your mouth. So try and swish it around as if you're using mouthwash essentially. So you can get a real, especially for red wines, because they contain tannins. You get this sort of general feel and sort of slight covering, but it's a really pleasant covering of your mouth and sort of a slight drying texture to it as well. Which is very representative of red wines. That's what a lot of people do sort of like, is that sort of slight drying sensation, which helps sort of, it's just nice really. I don't really know how to explain.
You can tell a very good story. Right. Let's see.
Good morning. I'm all right. And you?
That's very nice.
Good.
Don't ask me about fruit. I already told you the most important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll just that's what I'm saying. As soon as if you pick it up in the nose, just write it down whenever you're tasting. If you're doing a tasting thing, the same again. I've got the exact same one. But yeah, can you sort of feel on your tongue a slight dryness? That's what tannins are basically. There's slight dryness, and this particular Merlot as well, given the region that it grows in and the climate, and quite like medium. They're not too in your face. That some wines we may explore later down in the line. They're not too really boom, but they're not too sort of soft. It's a nice middle ground. It's a nice midweek wine, I'd say. You just get on with it.
It's very easy to drink.
It's a good conversation wine, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Talk about the label, and then you have a sip, and then you're like, they matched it beautifully, I think.
Very good. So, would you say that different red wines contain more or less tannin, or is the amount of tannin the same? It's not, is it?
where in red wine making, for instance, the tannins particularly come from the skins and maybe sometimes the stems especially in the classic vineyards that they use. They sometimes put the stems in with the fermentation process, but the skins contain most of the tannins, and this is what is distinguished between red wine making and white wine making, is that red wine fermentation process contains all the skins in it with the wines, with the grapes, so all the grapes, whereas in the other one they crush and then press the white wine, so that it's just the juices that are fermented.
So there's no skin.
So there's no skin at all, yeah. So that's why tannins, you will never feel tannins in white wine.
White wine.
Yeah, it's only applicable to red wine. Yeah.
I like this.
Yes.
Yes, I don't think I like the red wines that contain too much tannin, because when I taste that dryness a bit too much, I can never explain it. It seems, I don't know what's the word for it. What's the best word? Is it too dry then, or too something? But I can never explain. But whenever I taste, go ahead.
I mean, it's quite intense, isn't it? Especially when you do get a big bombshell in your face, in your mouth, of a big tannin grape. It's not for everybody's liking, definitely. But I think definitely this one is a lovely sort of evening. Pop it on
by the fire
party. Now they're in, maybe outside of lockdown periods with other people, friends and stuff like that. You can have a couple of bottles of these on a Friday or Saturday night and let everything go. Yeah.
Even for an everyday wine with some food, or in the evenings, I would definitely recommend. It's very, very nice.
Yes.
Right, just a little bit more and then I'll put it away. Very nice. I feel like I want to eat it.
Good. Can you feel as well? I noticed on my last gulp as well, like my tongue being sort of quite fresh in itself. It's like a minty flavour. That's quite addictive as well of the sort of region and Merlot. It's quite like a lovely little, just fresh minty eucalyptus sort of feel as well, which again would be the herbaceous sort of side coming into it.
The green peppers, right?
The green peppers, the same sort of category, yeah.
Right, so girl with the pearl earring, I agree. It's very, very good. Very tasty. Thank you very much. I hope one day you will return with another arty wine.
I do. I have another one. I have a Sauvignon Blanc, which we could do, also from Chile as well. So this would be a great opportunity to go, okay, we've done the reds, now we can move on to the white side of Chile. And especially Sauvignon Blanc, one of Chile's best white wine, great varieties that it produces as well. So.
Thank you very much, Fergus. This was very, very nice. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I shall try it later again, just in case. See if I can recognize the bell peppers later on.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you very much. We shall be back next time. Thank you. Thank you to the viewers, and thank you to lovely Mr. Wood.
Thank
you. Bye-bye.
Well, Annie Beryl and Marcus Wood. A good combination to explain what wines are all about. That program is a couple of years old, but it doesn't change. The information that you get out of that is as pertinent today as it was then. Okay, that's the Chief of Staff who's arrived and is checked to make sure that the beer is all fresh and ready for noon. Now he's disappeared. And I'm going to disappear for a few minutes, and then I'll be back and we will set about inviting Harry Atherton and then eventually Mark Mabey in for our Jamboree, our chat. And it is possible that we will be joined by Philip Meredith. We got the heavyweights this morning. I need them. Oh well, it's Friday and it's picking up. Toodle pip for the moment.